Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is Elise here of Plan with Elise, and today I'm so excited because I have a new KellofaPlan release to share with you. This is the meal and recipe planner and sticker book, and this releases on Friday, November 21st at 10 a.m. Central. I will have a link in the description to shop, so let's take a look. I haven't opened these yet, so I'm really excited to dive into them with you. So the planner is Meals Are Memories in the Making. And you have these little bit of a creamish white discs. And then you're going to have space for your name. Let's just make sure we are centered here. And then look at this, kitchen conversions. I Google kitchen conversions all the time, so it's really helpful to have this here. And then we have kitchen inventory, the item, the quantity, use by, and the notes. Another page of those. Then pantry inventory, fridge inventory, freezer inventory, and then favorite recipes. So I think this is really helpful because I try a lot of new recipes. Some of them I find online and some of them I just kind of make based on what's in the pantry and the fridge and the freezer. And some of them are wins, some are not. So I think it's really helpful to use this to write them down, because then I can remember when I'm like, what do I want to make for dinner tonight? I can go back and look at what some of the favorites are, what I liked, what James liked, because every once in a while he'll eat something and say, this is one of your best. I'm like, okay, mental note, make that again. But now I don't need a mental note because I can put it in here. So you have front and back of those. Then the first tab is the monthly meal plan. Planning today equals stress-free dinners tomorrow. Really pretty dividers here too. I love the floral design. So now we have a monthly meal planner. This is undated, so you can use it whenever you want. You can get started in December, because if you do purchase this on the 21st, you should definitely receive it by December. The KellofaPlan shipping is so fast. So you'll highlight what month it is. You can add the dates and then put your monthly meal plans. It's really easy to be able to look at it at a view like this, because when I'm making a meal plan, I try to make things that I'll be able to have as leftovers the next day. And one of the really good ways to save on grocery spending, because groceries are so expensive, is by making meals with some of the same ingredients and trying to stick with the same types of foods, even if it's different. So for example, let's say we have a lot of ground beef. I could make with ground beef a pasta sauce, and I could make some sort of like pasta dish or casserole. I could make tacos. I could make meatballs. What else have I done with ground beef lately? I feel like there was one other thing that I did. I could make meatloaf. I didn't make that, but that is something I can do, where you can kind of plan that out for the whole week if that's how you want to meal plan. And then we have a grocery shopping list. So you should have 12 of these pages. And then this is the 12th, where you have your meal planner and then you have your grocery shopping list. Then we have the weekly meal plan. Good food starts with a good plan. And this is where you're going to be able to map out from Monday through Sunday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. You'll highlight or underline the month and then the week, and you will have 52 of these for every week. Then we have breakfast recipes. So there's going to be recipes in here. Eat well, live well, be well. Well, there won't be recipes. There'll be a place for recipes. So we have the recipe for the rating, the yield, prep time, cook time, oven temp, and difficulty, notes, ingredients, blank box. You could put a picture here or something else, and then the directions. So there's a lot of screenshots I have in my phone of different recipes that I see online that I want to make. This is great because I don't need to look through the screenshots. I can just have them here. Then we have entree recipes. So again, the same. If you don't make breakfast recipes, you just have cereal or eggs or whatever it means, you can just take that tab out and put these in. There's no difference between these filler paper and the other one. It's just the dividers that are in there. Then we have sides and app recipes. A recipe is a plan with a pinch of creativity. And again, same sheets here. And then we have dessert recipes. Freshly baked, just sweet, genius desserts. There you go. That is the meal and recipe planner. I think a really good addition to your lineup. I think this would also make a really great holiday gift if you have someone in your life who loves to cook, or maybe is a busy mom who handles the cooking in the house. This would be a really nice gift. But let's take a look at the sticker book as well. So I like to have the sticker book next to a planner, especially when it's new, because some of the stickers may be sized for certain areas and I want to show you and do that comparison. So we have meal and recipe plans. So this is going to be the tiniest little letters you've ever seen, but this says weekly meal plan page. So when I open the weekly meal plan, these boxes are going to fit perfectly here. These checklists are also going to fit perfectly right there. So you'll have 2 pages of black. We have some neutral and bright colors that match the planner, and it still says weekly meal plan page. Then we have monthly meal plan. So these boxes are going to fit right here. You also have checklists and bullet points. So you're going to have the 2 black, then the colors that match the planner. And then this says recipe pages. So let's come back to our recipe pages. So you've got a ton of bullets down here. It's hard to see because they're black. Then we have boxes that'll fit this. The ingredients will fit here. Checklists will fit wherever you want. You can put the stars here. You can put the numbers for how much it yields, or the prep time, or the cook time, or the oven temp. And then the difficulty, you can put these bullet points. I would also use these. So they say family favorite, allergy friendly, likely to remake, don't forget, tips and tricks, crock pot, air fryer, instant pot, vegetarian. I would also use these maybe like here if I don't need the oven temp. So you'll have the 2 pages of the black, then the pink, then the teal, the yellow, and then we have some labels. So try this again, family favorite, easy dinner, make ahead, very spicy, great for leftovers, quick and easy. Bake, broil, saute, simmer, chop, dice, mince, blend, mix. Whisk, fold, preheat, marinate, drizzle, toss, layer, spread. Whisk, fold, preheat. Does anyone else see fold and think of Schitt's Creek? Hopefully that didn't come off as a curse. It's the name of a show. Whisk, fold, preheat, marinate, drizzle, toss, layer, spread. Knead, grill, roast, steam, boil, season, chop, prep. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, appetizer, entree, and dessert. These are on paper. You'll have 2. Then we have some recipe quotes. The fondest memories are made when gathered around the table. Cooking is love made visible. Food is the ingredient that binds us together. Great recipes start with a pinch of passion. Every recipe tells a story. Life is too short for bad food. Eat well, plan smart, live happy. Meals may last minutes, but the memories last a lifetime. Happiness is homemade. In this kitchen, we make meals and memories. As the cook, you bring the soul to the recipe. Make the world a better place. A recipe is just a guideline. Real cooking comes from the heart. Planning today for a delicious tomorrow. Some of the best conversations happen over a home-cooked meal. A meal shared is a memory made. The secret ingredient is always love. Cooking is like love. It should be entered into with abandon or not at all. A dash of creativity, a sprinkle of love, a lot of flavor. A well-planned meal is a well-planned family. Food should be simple, nourishing, and planned with lots of love. A little meal planning goes a long way. Some of the best conversations happen over a home-cooked meal. I think we read that. Your future self will thank you for meal planning today. And 2 pages of those. Then we're going to have some of the icons that you saw in the planner. So these are on clear. You have 2 pages of these. These are for baking. Then we have breakfast. I love this, the blue mixer. It's so pretty. We got a white one for an engagement gift, so I'm really excited to use that. And then we have some home like kitchen items. You got the eggs, you got the pasta in a jar, a muffin tin. I love the heart cookie cutter here. And we've got some meals. Oh, it's going to make me hungry. What do we have here? We have deviled eggs, cupcakes, salad, meatballs, quiche, pasta salad. I love pasta salad. This looks like a bruschetta, a dip, crudité, yum. A layered dip, it looks really good. And then we've got some healthy veggies and fruits, 2 pages of these as well. And all of these more decorative stickers are on clear. So that is the meal and recipe plans and the meal and recipe planner. Again, I think even if not for yourself, this would be a really great gift. So we are actually going to plan out 2 of my favorite recipes today because I have to look them up on screenshots every time I want to make them, and this way I don't have to anymore. I'm going to leave this in my kitchen actually, but maybe you will find one of your new favorite recipes here as well. So we're going to start with an entree, and this has kind of a funny name for it. It went viral a while ago on TikTok because the joke was like how I paid my landlord this month. I think it's really just like making it for her husband, but I call it landlord pasta. And when I tell you that this is one of my favorite recipes, I've made it almost every week um, for the last several weeks, ever since I discovered it. And I've done a little bit of variations on it too. So we're just going to use my click art to make it a little bit bolder here with the title. And then I have my zebra sarasa art. I don't really know what the yield is. It tends to be like maybe 3 servings, 3 to 4 servings, depending on how big you serve your plates. So I'm just going to call this 4 servings because I always have leftovers. But I tend to make more because I like having the leftovers. The prep time is under 30 minutes. I'm just going to write under 30. It depends on a couple of variables, which I'll share shortly. Oh, wait, the prep time is nothing. The cook time is under 30 minutes. I made a mistake. Already, I made a mistake. Let me grab my correction tape. Okay, so there's no prep time for it. You don't need any chopping, anything like that. So prep time is 0. Cook time is under 30 minutes. No oven temp needed. Difficulty is so small. Let's pull out, what are these? The recipe pages. Let's use the yellow because why not? So I'm going to use this. These are actually a little bit too big, but let's just pop that in there. Level 1 difficulty. The ingredients. Will these fit here? Let me see. Or I could do maybe a checklist. I think these will fit. It's always tough to get like a visual overhead. Okay, that works. That's a perfect fit, as though it was planned. Okay, so 2 cups of ditalini pasta. Ditalini pasta is like a tiny little cylinder. You have to use ditalini pasta for this or something equally tiny because we're going to be cooking it in broth instead of water, and the broth is only going to be absorbed in a really tiny pasta. Then we need 3 1/4 cups of broth. I've only ever cooked this in chicken broth. You can use veggie, you can use beef. Beef and veggie will both have extra, or beef and chicken broth will both have extra protein, but you can use veggie broth if you want this to be a little bit lower sodium, and also if you want it to be vegetarian. Then, so the next thing is I'm going to write down what's on the recipe. 1/3 cup of heavy cream. I've never once used heavy cream for this. I use almond milk. It's unsweetened almond milk, which is an important factor, but I don't want heavy cream. It's not something that I really buy. We don't keep in the house. I think you could probably use regular milk, whatever milk you have in your fridge, if you don't want to buy heavy cream for it. It also makes it healthier when you use almond milk or something different. Then we need 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Um, fresh parsley. I don't use fresh parsley. I use a jar. Pepper to taste. 1/3 a cup of grated Parmesan. I probably use more than that, to be honest, because I love Parmesan. And then 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. You could use fresh garlic. I use minced garlic, but minced garlic is what's on the recipe. Okay, there we go. The other thing that I sometimes do, it just depends on whether I've defrosted chicken or not, is sometimes I'll cook chicken like on a skillet or cast iron skillet and then add chicken to it, but you could add any protein. The other thing that I'll also do if I don't have chicken defrosted is we tend to always have bags of frozen like organic vegetables like peas, broccoli, carrots, things like that in the freezer, and I will cook one of those in the microwave and then stir it in just to get those veggies in. So it's really good. Okay, directions. Let's go through our steps. You could also number your steps if you wanted to with these stickers, but we're going to do them in bullet points. Again, this is a really easy dish, very simple, like anyone can make it. Okay, cook minced garlic with olive oil in large skillet over medium high heat for 3 minutes or until it starts to brown. Then we're going to stir the pasta into the skillet. Just dump that pasta right in, even though there's no water or anything. Next up, we're going to pour the broth into the skillet. Now, this is where the time it takes to cook varies for me because once I open chicken broth, I freeze whatever's left. So if I'm pouring room temperature chicken broth, then it's going to cook a little bit more quickly. But most of the time, I'm putting in a massive block because I use like soup ice cube style containers. I'm going to be putting that in, and it takes a little bit longer. The other thing is when you put that in after the pasta, it's kind of sitting on top of the pasta. So I try to move the pasta over to one side and the massive ice block brick of broth onto the other. But it's definitely better when you can put in like fresh opened broth. So we're going to pour broth into skillet, stir regularly, 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 until all liquid is absorbed. And by stirring regularly, I probably stir like every 2 minutes or so. So what's going to happen is because this ditalini pasta is really tiny, the broth is all going, the pasta is going to absorb all the broth, and then you're not going to have any liquid left, and it adds so much flavor because it becomes in the pasta itself. Then you're going to add Parmesan, cheese, heavy cream. Again, I don't use heavy cream. And butter. Oops, I went totally crooked there. Butter Stir until absorbed. Next up, I'm just going to skip a line here. Season with pepper to taste. And then finally, garnish with parsley. Again, if you're going to add other things to it, so I tend to like slice chicken and put it over it. So I would do that right before the parsley. If you're going to add vegetables to it, like I also do, I'll do that here and then I'll season and garnish so that the vegetables also have the seasoning. So that is the recipe. It's so easy. Now, what I want to do is let's do our rating star right over here. And I'm going to color all of those in. Probably should have used a pen for this. I just felt like it would be faster to do this. Just becoming really ugly stars. I should really just be doing it like this. Here we go. That's better. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is, let me grab a mild liner, and I'm going to write favorite add-ons. And then maybe we even take my pen here and do this. Okay, then I can take, you could do a box for this or bullets, whatever you want. I'm going to put 2 down here, but I'm going to leave room in case over time I discover more. I think you could also probably put tofu in this after you cook it. So I'm going to write vegetables and chicken. One of my friends recently made this with gluten-free pasta because she has celiacs, and it was also really good. And her kids enjoyed it. So that's something to note. Okay, the other note I was going to do here is that just kind of do this. Almond milk. Instead of heavy cream. Okay, look how cute this is. I'm also going to write family favorite, or not write, but sticker family favorite. Really simple, easy page. You could add more decor to it if you want to. I don't know if any of these look like it. You could also add a photo of it here if you want to, or where the recipe originated from. I don't remember the person on TikTok, excuse me, that I saw this from, but that is our landlord pasta. So maybe take a screenshot if this is something that you want to try to make. I promised you 2 recipes. So the next recipe we are doing is a side and app recipe, and this is one of my favorites, and this is called balsamic bruschetta, or bruschetta, depending on how you say it. I love bruschetta. I call it bruschetta, so that's what I'm gonna say here. What I don't love is onions. And I was on the hunt for a long time for a way to enjoy that really great bruschetta flavor, but without the onions. And I finally found one. And let me tell you, I make this pretty often. And every time I do, whoever's eating it asks for the recipe because they love it. So the prep time or the yield, again, I don't really know the yield. This is actually, I pulled up the recipe. So this says 8 servings. I tend to just kind of add more. The prep time depends on how you prep it. I'm going to say 10 minutes. There's no cook time, there's no oven temp, and the difficulty is really easy. I want to use some, what color do we have here? I used yellow before. Kind of wanted to use red. I'm going to use red and black because red feels like bruschetta to me. Actually, we'll use that peach one. This one, like pinkish peach. So let's put this here. Difficulty, again, is really easy. I am not an advanced cook, so I really only make recipes that are very easy. I have gotten more advanced over time, but I tend to make really simple things. So we're going to add in our ingredients list. I'm also realizing that some of this cook time may actually be a little bit longer because and I do need the oven temp because I forgot about the French bread and needing to cook it. So again, another mistake that I made, which is not uncommon for me. So the cook time, let me just look at this recipe. It's going to be 400 degrees for 10 minutes. Okay, now our ingredients. 1 loaf, French bread, 1/4 inch slices, so you're gonna slice it. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. You could use any type of olive oil or oil. You could use avocado oil, something like that. 8 large tomatoes, diced. I don't use large tomatoes. I use grape or cherry tomatoes because that's how I tend to buy my tomatoes. So that's going to be a note that I put. 1 container of grape or cherry tomatoes. When I'm shopping for groceries, and I tend to buy what I use. So I like to make salads. I like to make a lot of things with tomatoes, but I never use big tomatoes. I probably should. The only time I use big tomatoes is if I'm making a caprese salad, but I'll buy the container because even if I don't use it all here, I will use it at some point for something else. Okay, then you need a 1/3 cup of chopped fresh basil. Again, I don't always use chopped fresh basil. I will use a basil seasoning if I need to. Then we need 1 ounce of grated Parmesan. I told you I love Parmesan. We need 2 cloves of minced garlic. I use regular minced garlic from a jar. Then we need 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. We'll just write vin. 2, this is interesting. I'm looking at the recipe, and earlier in the recipe it says 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Then it says 2 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, maybe because you need it 2 separate times. 2 teaspoons of EVOO. Then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. and pepper. And I'm going to add one more thing to this that's not in the recipe, but I'm just going to write balsamic glaze because I put balsamic glaze, like a drizzle over it after I finish making it. It's not in the recipe, but I like to do that. Okay, now let's add in our steps. And again, really easy. The hardest part here is cutting. So preheat oven to 400 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. Then we're going to cut French bread to 1/4-inch slices. Brush bread slices on both sides with oil. I'm going to put the bullets in after because I feel like I'm keep going back and forth. So brush both sides of bread with EVOO. Toast until golden, 5 to 10 minutes, turning halfway through. So after 5 minutes, you want to turn them. Then while those are cooking, let's add in our bullet points because I feel like I'm going to get lost here. This is where the prep time may vary depending on the person. I have a vegetable chopper, like it's a container, and I just chop, and it's so quick to chop it using that. If you don't use one of those and you're cooking, chopping with a knife, that may take a little longer, but it really just depends. I think that when it comes to cooking, similar to like how I decorative plan, I feel like there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, there probably is a wrong way to do it because it's cooking and you want to make sure you're being safe with food. But when it comes to the ingredients and things like that, you just add in whatever you like. Forget about the recipe. Okay, so chopped tomatoes. Toss tomatoes, basil, Parmesan, and garlic in a bowl with balsamic vinegar, salt, and pepper, and that remaining, my hand hurts. I haven't written this much in a while, and 2 teaspoons of EVOO. Then, this is an optional one. It depends on how much time you have. So I'm not going to put it here, but I'm going to put it in my notes. Let mixture sit for an hour. I just think that when I can let the mixture sit, it absorbs the flavor better, but it's also really good without doing that. You don't always have that time. Let mixture sit 1 hour. Again, not necessary. Spoon mixture onto bread slices. And then my step that is not in the ingredient, or that is not in the recipe, is drizzle with balsamic glaze. I drizzle it with balsamic glaze once it's plated because then you can drizzle really nicely. My mouth is watering. there we go. And that is the recipe. Let's do our rating. I think this time I'm going to do the rating in here because I feel like it'll just be easier. But this is, like I said, it's one of my favorite recipes. Today is Friday, November 14th, and tomorrow we are going to Friendsgiving at James's sister's house. And this is likely the recipe that I'm making because it's so easy. It's also pretty inexpensive. Um, Last year I made my baked mac and cheese, which is another favorite of mine, but it's so unhealthy. And it's also pretty pricey because of the amount of cheese that you need to buy for it. Um, so this is likely what I'm going to make. And all I need to do is just like go to Whole Foods. I need to get bread, tomato. That says dices, not diced. I'll fix that. I'll probably get fresh basil for this if I'm already going to Whole Foods. We're out of Parmesan, but that's it. So I would guess that this will be like, I don't know how much a French bread costs at Whole Foods. I usually get it at a different grocery store, but Whole Foods is closer. So this is probably, I don't know, under $5. Tomatoes could be $5. This could be like a $10 dish depending on what you already have at home. And it's so good. Really good for this time of year, especially when you need some appetizers for the holiday season. And aside from the bread, I mean, it's pretty healthy. So we're actually going to do this. Actually, last year, someone at this Friendsgiving, I'm just remembering, made something sort of similar. But what they did was they took a bowl and they put like a basil cream cheese mixture on the bottom. Maybe it was a plate. It was a plate. So maybe I can't make this if they're doing it again. I need to ask his sister if they're coming and they're making it again. But they took a plate, they mixed cream cheese and basil, I think. Then they put the bread around it like this so that you could kind of dip it in. A dip is pretty good for an event like this, but I also think that the individual slices of the bruschetta are good. I'm still going to make my bruschetta. That's fine. Just because someone made it last year doesn't mean that I can't make it. So I'm just going to write here. Again, I could put a picture of it, but my favorite appetizer. It really is. Sometimes I'll make it at home if we have the ingredients. I've also made this on something that Costco has. It's little like bagel crisps, everything seasoning bagel crisps. If you're a Costco fan, you may know what those are. But I've put it on those before. I'll put it on a rice cake. I'll put it on anything. It doesn't always have to be the French bread. But those are two of my favorite recipes. I feel like we've been here for a while. So the meal and recipe plans by KellofaPlan sticker book and planner release on Friday, November 21st, 10 a.m. Central. If you are shopping, please do consider using my affiliate link. Not only do I earn a commission on your order, but it tells brands that you like what I am sharing. KellofaPlan does not do discount codes, so I only have the link. So that is a wrap. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Maybe let me know your favorite recipe. That would be really great as I start to build my recipe planner. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.